My name is Alea O'Reilly. We can just start by saying this is Wayne's house, and this is where we do most of our program work, bridging the gap and holding space and those renewal retreats, meditation and things like that. We have 6 beds in the residence, a little library, and typically we have the client and maybe 1 or 2 family members or caregiver friends that come when we do retreats, and they'll stay anywhere from 1 to 3 nights overnight, and we'll do talking sessions, therapy sessions. We might do some pieces from Bridging the Gap, talking about palliative care, talking about compassion fatigue or caregiver burnout, helping people to learn compassionate communication when they're in the caregiving role and when they're the patient. Everyone needs compassionate communications skills brush up, so we do that. And grief and bereavement, the process itself is something that all of us feel during loss and transition. Since every individual is unique, we sometimes feel very strongly, and everyone reacts to loss in a different way. So some of the education that we provide are ways to meet your grief that makes sense for the individual, and then as the family constellation gets involved, everyone in our family is not going to be in the same place with grief at the same time as we are. So we try and make, again, for a safe, compassionate setting, to express where we are, to be able to have really a safe place to land with grief, and to be able to express it in ways that make sense. We do try and teach some ways of celebrating life of someone who has passed on as a way for healing grief. And some people are ready for that way and others are not. For those of us who survive the death of a loved one, there's a lot of work to do. Sometimes it's very practical work. I mean, sometimes it's cleaning out the person's personal belongings, or selling their car, or getting their house ready to sell or do something with. Those jobs are all pretty difficult when you're in the middle of grief. And so if you're all by yourself doing that, and if you don't feel like anybody even cares that you're doing that, it's devastating. So we can rally around those folks if they don't feel scared to say, gosh, I'm really sad. We're very undereducated about the dying process. Selecting your medical power of attorney, someone to speak for you if you can't. And then are the things that have to do with the living will, what kind of medical interventions you would want should you be rendered unable to speak or in a coma. It have to do with things like how comfortable you would want to be in terms of pain management, consciousness, how you would want people to treat you, and what you would want your loved ones to know if you were in a coma or unable to speak for some other reason, and in the eventuality of death. I have seen how difficult it is for individuals and families who have not written those things down or made those things known to their family members. And there's a great deal of suffering that comes on the part of the caregiver. So that program is important to reduce suffering for people.